Welcome to Melina Crochets. This podcast is about having fun while you're crocheting and playing with yarn. Hello to new and returning viewers. For the month of May, I want to feature shawls so that you can wear these items on a summer night when it gets a little chilly. So I will feature some finished objects, some works in progress, some books and yarns that showcase shawls. So let's begin. The first item that I want to show you that I completed was my triangle granny shawl that I featured in the last episode. So I've completed the shawl here, and I used two different yarns to create the shawl. So the light orange I finished first, and then I went around with the darker orange on the bottom. The yarns that I used were Karen Cotton Ripple Cakes in Copper Rose and Tweedle D by Lion Brand in Ginger. And this took only 2 balls to complete. The next shawl that I completed was a Lion Brand inspired shawl. What I did is I took 3 different yarns from Lion Brand and created individual squares and rectangles. As you can see, I created a square here in ice cream, scarfy, and mandala ombre. And I created all the squares and rectangles and connected them. And at the bottom, I joined an additional mandala yarn to create the shawl. As you can see, it has the various squares in the shawl. And then I created one long rectangle on the bottom to complete it in mandala. Two additional shawls that I started and I completed were made with Karen Latte Cakes. One was created in Plum Fresh, and the other one was created in Butter Cookie. The first shawl is the Plum Fresh shawl, which I created using directional crochet. As you can see, I created a rectangle for this first part, and once I completed my rectangle with 1 ball of yarn, I purchased a second ball of yarn to create the triangle end of the scarf. Of the shawl. And I will post a picture here so that you can see it, but I just love the colors that show through in this shawl. The next shawl is Butter Cookie, and I created it in a triangle and used the granny square stitch with single and double crochet. I believe that the latte yarn works better with double crochet because you get to see the halo effect on the shawl, as you can see here. And the single crochet just confines the stitch a little bit more, so I like using the double crochet. And then with the chain, you really don't see the granny square because the halo of the yarn covers up some of the space. So I think this came out nice. I love this yarn. I love the way it feels. And you can wear this on a really cold summer night and know that you will be warm. Before I continue with the other traditional shawls that I've completed, I wanted to share with you my top. My top is part of a shawl that I wanted to create. Jane Crawford in this Inside Crochet magazine had started a crochet along in which she had created 3 different square patterns so that you could make the climbing rose shawl. And if you're interested in this and you can't find the magazine, you can go to the Facebook page that says Climbing Rose Wrap or Shawl and join, and then you can purchase the pattern on Ravelry. So my intention was to create this shawl here, as you can see, but it takes so many squares and it takes a lot of time to do. I didn't think that I was going to be able to finish it. So what I did is I took the pattern that appeared in this magazine, which was a simple square here, as you can see in the book, and then that's the stitch pattern there. And I decided that I would create 4. Once I completed 4 of them, I was like, I'm not going to finish this. So don't even try. Try to make something with the 4 that you created. So I created a top with the hexagon squares. And I decided that I wanted to add something else to it. So the bottom would be a little straight, as you can see here. And I used the pattern in the same magazine called Eclectic Jumper. This is the Eclectic Jumper here. And I decided that I would use this pattern here to complete the top that I'm wearing. And this way I could showcase the climbing rose pattern with a little bumps and the stitch definitions that kind of appear in the hexagons. So this is how the top looks here. As you can see, I used the pattern here. I just changed the colors a little bit to stay in the apricot plum family. And I thought it came out really nice. And I will post a picture here so that you can see the front and the back. But the back is just containing this part here. And the row starts from 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's continue with the shawls. The next shawl I completed was made with Busy Peach yarn and Pima cotton. So this one is peach wine, and this was blue java banana. And this one I had 2 different greens, so I used both of them in the shawl just to see how it would come out in the Pima cotton. This is the shawl that I completed with the increases only on one side. And then once I completed the design, I used a little tapestry crochet. Then I added a little lacy stitch on the bottom and on the sides to complete it. This yarn was really nice to work with. It was nice and soft. And the shawl is really light. So it would take nothing just to fold it up and then place in your bag. So the shawl will always be there to keep you warm. The next shawl that I created was made with Knit Picks Brava yarn. I enjoyed this yarn so much because it was a sport weight, so it's not as heavy as a 4-ply, and it was just nice to work with. You can do tapestry crochet, single crochet, double crochet, and the stitches come out really nice. So the colors I used was orange, seashell, and pea pod. And this is the result of using those 3 colors in a rectangular shawl. So what I did is I went in different directions. Again, I used my directional crochet technique. In this one, where I started in the center here with single and double crochet, I used tapestry crochet as well. And then I used a shell stitch around the edges, and then some more single and double. I put in some popcorn stitches. Sorry, I had it on the wrong side. So I put in some popcorn stitches just to give it a little definition. And again, I added the tapestry crochet and the shells to complete the shawl. And I will post a picture here so that you can see the completed shawl. So I decided to look through my magazines to see if I had any other shawl patterns that I would be interested in making. So I found some magazines. This one is Simply Crochet Edits. This was an extra excerpt when I purchased the crochet magazine. And it has 5 shawls included in here, as you can see on the bottom. So one of the shawls that I'm interested in making is the Diamond Lace Shawl by Sarah Huntington. And they have different shapes in here. They have this one, which is a rectangle. So it gives you various options and shapes that you can make with this magazine. The different shawls that you would like. The next shawl that I'm interested in making, and I started, was featured in the Interweave Crochet Spring 2020 magazine. It's called the Chevelle Shawl by Lisa Nasrin. So So here's the shawl here. And also it makes it easy when you're doing shawls that are lacy, they give you a diagram as well. And I decided that I would create this shawl in Lion Brand from Rockin' Nights. It's a size 2 yarn. I'm sorry, a size 3 yarn. But it feels like a size 2 that I'm creating. So this one is Sultan and this one is Scarab. So this is like a blue metallic with different shades of tan mixed in. And then this one looks like it's maroon with different colors of gray mixed in with it, with a metallic. So this is how far I've gotten so far. And after a while, once you get past the first few rows, it starts repeating the stitch. So you're using single crochet, double crochet, chain stitches in here. So it's fun to create. It's going to take a while to make. I think you have to go to like, hold on one second. They want you to go to about 255 stitches when you're creating this shawl here. The next one I have is another excerpt that I got when I purchased Inside Crochet magazine. And this one features Debbie Bliss. So it gives her story and it gives 4 different shawls that she's created for this magazine here. So the shawls have basically the same shape but different designs, as you can see. So another one they have is this one here. They're pretty simple and easy. So all the shawls basically start off the same, but they just have different designs in them. So it's going to be that triangle where you only increase on one side. So you have another one here. And the shawls that I would like to create is this one here. So the yarns that I purchased for that shawl are Knit Picks Felici. And then I had some yarn from Busy Peach. So I have this one, which is a tinsel, 100% tinsel. And this is a multicolor. And then I also have a yellow one. So I'm going to combine the 3 of those, sorry. And then I also have a Haynes House yarn that I purchased called Fight. Other yarns that I purchased that I thought would look really great in a shawl are yarns from Cornelia Tuttle Hamilton. And I will put the names below for each of these yarns. And the reason I purchased is she was having a sale. She was having like a 40% sale and I couldn't pass up this wonderful sale because I love the yarn. It was different types of yarn. So for this one, it's called Sickette. And it's a mulberry silk 100%. So that was one of them that I got. Then I got the Sister Silk here. And then I have the Charmin Solid here, which is 100% hand-dyed raw silk. And I have Kinmo Heron Silk in this color called Affetto Seta. The next one I have is Shaman, and this is also 100% hand-dyed raw silk. And the last one that I purchased from her is called Silke. It's 100% hand-dyed mulberry silk in gold. And I thought all these colors together would make a lovely shawl. Let me see if I can get them all together so that you can see. So these are the 6 yarns that I purchased from her, and I thought this would make a lovely shawl because this is thin yarn, so it's like a size 1 yarn, and it would make a nice light airy shawl. So I think I'm gonna make it in a lacy stitch so that you can see all the stitch definitions and see the yarn as well. One last thing is a blanket that I created for a friend who wanted a blanket for her niece that featured Blue's Clues. So this is one of the things that I love to make is tapestry crochet blankets. And here's the blanket here, in which I use pink and blue yarn. And I got the Blue Clues design off of Pinterest. And once I complete the design, I used the shell stitch in granny squares to go around the blanket to give it a little bit more length and width. I will post a picture here of the blanket. That concludes this episode. Thank you for watching, and remember, no yarn is off limits when crocheting. Have a great day.